Hey guys, so today I've got my June beauty favorites for you. I love making these videos, as you guys know, and if you are new to my channel, what I'd like to do is throw some B-roll in here showing you me applying as many of my favorites as possible. So why don't we go ahead and jump right into it, because I feel like I have quite a few things here, but I'm skipping talking about like base and concealer and powder because I really just haven't been using that much of it this past month. It's been very hot here. I've just been feeling really kind of like low key regarding my makeup. I do have a few things on, and I will list everything that I have on my face in addition to all of my favorites down below in my description box if you are interested. But I just wanted to dive right into like the really fun stuff that came out this past month. A lot of blushes, some highlights, some great eyeshadows, lipstick, but I do want to start with the dress that I'm wearing today. I don't normally talk about like lifestyle fashion favorites when I do my beauty favorites, but I just love this dress so much, and because it is in the color of one of my favorite lipstick colors, which we'll get to at the end, and I'm sure most of you can guess what it is that's on my lips, I just had to mention it. So this is a dress from H&M. It is a shirt dress, and then it has this, oh my god, it has this like built-in tie here. So it's really roomy. It's like, it pretty much goes down to like my mid-calf. There's slits up the side. I actually vlogged opening up this H&M package. I don't know when that vlog is going up, but if you want to see more details about that dress, stay tuned for that vlog. But I will link this down below also, of course, in my description box if you're interested. But I just love these dresses that feel like pajamas but make you look like put together. So anyway, I just wanted to mention it. The color is really what attracted me. And I am a sucker for shirt dresses because I just feel like they look a little bit more tailored than a normal, I don't know, t-shirt dress or anything like that. And it looks a little bit more finished. It looks a little bit more tailored, yet it's just as comfortable. So anyway, had to mention this. And then I also wanted to mention, I don't usually talk about perfumes. I'm trying to a little bit more because I personally am getting more into them. But I really wanted to mention this Kilian Boys perfume, and I wanted to mention it for two reasons. One, it is like one of my favorite fragrances. It smells like Coca-Cola, and I've just been reaching for it like the past week or so, just reapplying it, reaching for it, kind of sniffing in the bottle. I don't know, there's something about Coca-Cola in the summertime. I don't know, maybe it reminds me of like picnics or something, or barbecues, but it's just been a really perfect sort of fragrance for me, and just very nostalgic, and I love it. And you know, if you love the scent of Coca-Cola like I do, you're gonna love this. But I really wanted to point this out because this is not going to be available in the US much longer. It is still available on Sephora, but I believe once their stock is sold out, it's sold out, and this is only going to be available, I believe, this is the last I heard, only available in the Russian market. So not going to be available in the US or anywhere outside of Russia, I think, once stock sells out. But get your hands on this before it sells out if you are into Coca-Cola. So anyway, that's the Kilian Boys fragrance. And those are kind of like the two random favorites I wanted to mention today. So let's go ahead and jump into makeup. Like I said, I'm just going to kind of skip like base stuff and jump right into blush. This was a really big blush month, and I didn't want to just talk about every single blush that I tried, because I really enjoy pretty much all of them that I tried. There really weren't any duds per se, but I wanted to narrow it down for you guys. So in terms of powder blush, I have to talk about the Pat McGrath Divine blushes. They are incredible. So she came out with nine different shades. I got the whole like package, and there are 3 shades that have really stuck out to me. So the first one I wanted to mention is Desert Orchid. I just recently wore this in a video. Anyway, you guys maybe have caught that, but this is a beautiful like nude, slightly warm shade. So I wanted to mention this one. The next one I wanted to mention, and you guys probably noticed that I really enjoy bright blushes. I just feel like it gives life to my face. And this shade, Cherish, is just a beautiful bright pink. Just, you know, neutral kind of pink, but it's very bright. And it's just gorgeous on the cheeks. It gives you that kind of like rosiness. It gives you that kind of like doll-like rosiness that's just gorgeous. But the one that I have on my face today is Electric Bloom. And wow, this is, I mean, it's like almost as bright as my dress, and I have to be very, very careful when I apply this. In fact, I have to be very, very careful when I apply all of these. These blushes are incredibly, incredibly pigmented. The formula of these blushes is just a pressed powder, so if you go in like really hard with the brush, you're gonna pick up a lot of pigment. And while I have fairly fair skin, the like ultra pigmentation of these blushes, I have to be really careful. But I think it's wonderful because I think all of these blushes will work for like every skin tone because they're so pigmented. So for me personally, I just have to be really, really careful with these blushes. I mean, I just tap my brush into a shade like this one, and I pretty much got like both of my cheeks in there. You'll see in my B-roll here, me applying the Electric Bloom, and even just the little bit that I like picked up on my brush, I felt like I really had to blend it out. I think the result is worth it. Absolutely worth it. Generally, I don't like overly pigmented blushes, but the shades are just so beautiful and the formula is so creamy. And most of the blushes are a, you know, matte finish, but because it's just such a creamy kind of formula, they don't look dry or flat on the cheeks. And then there's a few with like a shimmer finish, and the Desert Orchid, the first one I showed you, this one has like a little bit of a shimmer finish. Like it'll give your cheek like just a slight kind of golden glow to it. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But those are the three I feel like I've been reaching for the most. Definitely Desert Orchid and definitely Electric Bloom. Cherish if I'm looking for something pink, which I'm realizing is not that often. I feel like I'm always looking for something red or peachy or coral or kind of nude. But if I am looking for something pink, this one has been coming to mind. So those are the three that I wanted to point out from the Pat McGrath Divine Blush collection. I just realized I completely skipped over bronzer, and this was another product. I feel like I've just tried out so many great bronzers lately, but I just really wanted to narrow it down to one. And this was like a surprise hit for me because I've been wanting to pick this up, and I just, no, I don't really need it. I have so many bronzer. Anyway, I picked it up and I love it. It is the Trish McEvoy Light and Lift Face Color Duo. The highlight in here is just a little bit too deep for me. It's nice if I want to pat it over blush just to give like any of my matte blushes like a little bit of a glow. I really like glow to my cheek products. If you're unaware, I don't really like matte finishes for like my bronzer, blush, highlight, obviously not highlight, but my bronzers and my blushes. I don't really like a matte kind of finish. So that leads me to the beautiful bronzer in here. So this bronzer has a beautiful golden sheen to it, but it's nothing, there's no like micro glitters in there. It's not like a deep highlight or anything like that. It's just a beautiful bronzer with a little bit of sheen to it. I have it pretty much, I mean, you'll see in this B-roll here, I have it pretty much all over where you would kind of contour, and then I have it kind of swept over my forehead, over the bridge of my nose, and then I did kind of bronze my neck a little bit. And it just has a beautiful, subtle sheen to it. But what I really love is the tone of this bronzer. It has like a little bit of a red base to it, and that's my favorite in terms of a bronzer the way like we're all using bronzer these days, which is kind of like a bronzer, like half bronzer, half contour. The red in it just gives it that kind of natural, like sun-kissed, slightly sunburnt kind of look to it, and it's just gorgeous. So I'm so glad I finally picked this up and tried out this bronzer. I did this in like a Nordstrom try-on haul, and I was so happy that I finally bit the bullet and purchased this, and I love it. I love this bronzer. It's really been my go-to, and I just, it's so good. Okay, we talked about bronzer, we talked about powder blush. I did want to talk about a cream blush that has just won my heart, and they are the Lisa Eldridge Enlivening Blushes. So I don't know if these are still in stock. I think everything has been sold out. I'm sure she's going to be restocking. I don't know how soon, but hopefully soon. But this shade, which is Pink Poetry, has been my go-to. And I have two other shades which are a little bit more neutral and perfect for like no makeup days. But you guys, I love a bright blush, and I love the texture of this. So it comes in this tube, and when you squeeze it out, wow, I squeezed out way too much. So you won't need nearly as much of this blush as what I just squeezed out. But anyway, just to give you an idea of the texture here. So it's definitely closer to a cream than a liquid. And because it has a little bit more like structure to it, it really is so easy to apply. It's not like a liquid where sometimes I feel like it ends up being kind of patchy and you kind of have to be careful with it and you have to kind of like build up slowly, let it set, build it up slowly, you know, let it set. This just goes on like a dream and it's really just so smooth. And I'm not joking, this is way, way too much for both of your cheeks for one application. This would be like for 7 applications. So a tube like this is gonna last you forever, unless you're a makeup artist, but this is gonna last you forever. But let me just kind of blend this out here so you can see how beautifully it just blends out. And of course, Lisa Eldridge did a whole video on how she likes to apply it, you know, with one finger and then blending it out with a finger that doesn't have any product on it. And it's stunning, absolutely stunning. And Pink Poetry is the one that I've been reaching for the most. I love them all. They're all beautiful. Pink Soap is beautiful. I mean, they're gorgeous. So had to mention those, but I did decide to use the Pat McGrath today because I loved that electric bloom color. And then in terms of highlight, I had to mention the Lisa Eldridge highlight again. I think these are all sold out, but hopefully they'll be restocked soon. So this is the Elevated Glow, and Cosmic Rose is the shade that I have been reaching for. I have it on my cheeks, and so you'll see me applying it here, and it goes on beautifully, like straight from the doe foot applicator, which is what this highlight has. You can just, you know, dab it straight onto your skin and just blend it out with your finger, but I wanted to show you using a brush with it, it works just as beautifully, and it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous sheen. And I'm such a big fan of cream and liquid highlights. They just have a much more like ethereal feel to them versus a powder highlight, which sometimes can look a little bit heavy and thick on the skin. This is very, very angelic, if you will. It's just a gorgeous, like subtle kind of sheen. So I have it on my cheeks. I did also brush it down the bridge of my nose a little bit and just kind of like over my eyebrows, but that is pretty much what you see on my cheeks here. And it's so natural. I always hesitate in using that word describing highlight because there's really nothing too natural about highlight, but it really looks very, very natural. It looks very, very, and I think that's what she calls this whole range. Yeah, seamless skin. It really looks incredibly seamless on your skin, which is, I think, what makes it look so natural. So that is the Lisa Eldridge highlight. And then the last kind of cheek product I wanted to mention is the Christian Louboutin face palette. So I did purchase this, I can't remember the shade name. It's like so something. Anyway, I'll leave it down below in the description box, but here is what it looks like. And it is so beautiful. These are baked gelée products, which I absolutely love. And we've got 2 like blushes here and then 1 highlight. One blush is sort of like a natural kind of like demi satin finish. And then this one has a beautiful kind of golden sheen to it. And then obviously the highlight has like a beautiful metallic sheen to it. I was so impressed with these products, and I really was not even gonna bother with this whole Louboutin. I thought the packaging looked a little bit cheap. I was like, I don't need another blush and highlight, but I was so pleasantly surprised. The packaging is actually really nice, and the refill itself is actually pretty substantial. And when I realized that these were baked gelée products, I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I ordered this. So I wanted to mention these, even though I don't have any of them on my face today, but I did want to mention these, and they're just gorgeous. So I'm so glad I picked it up. All right, let's move over to eyebrows. Now, I don't usually mention eyebrow products, at least not often, but this one is really lovely. This is from Nude Sticks. This is the Brow Boost and Set Gel XL. And it comes in what looks like a tube, but we have like a little teeny tiny spoolie at one end. So this is just a clear gel, and it is such a great texture and consistency. I just love the formula of this. It really helps my brows behave, and I have really unruly eyebrow hairs, but it leaves them like touchable and like flexible and not crispy and not crunchy, but really kind of keeps them in place. It's a pretty magical kind of formula, and I just really enjoy it. As you guys know, I'm like a Tom Ford Fiber Brow Gel fan. I'll just throw that in because it has pigment in there, it has little fibers in there, it just does everything. But if I feel like using like a brow pencil, this is a great companion because, you know, a brow pencil doesn't really help with hold or anything, and this doesn't really help with pigment, but it helps with hold. So anyway, really been enjoying this and just wanted to mention this lovely brow product. All right, I have 3 eyeshadow palettes to talk about. I couldn't narrow it down from this, and I feel like there were more that I wanted to talk about, but I was like, let's just keep it to 3. So the Patrick Ta eyeshadow palette, this one really blew me away. I was like kind of surprised that I ended up with a look that was so Patrick Ta. If you're a fan of his work, you'll love this eyeshadow palette. Like the colors are perfect. The finishes are great. There's like all these different kinds of finishes in here. There are these 2 cream bases, which I was very, very like not into. I was very skeptical about them. I was like, whatever, I'll probably just use with the powder shadows, but I loved it. Like this lighter cream base gave me such a beautiful, like slight smokiness. It was just a great like canvas primer, like a great place to start and then build on top with all of these like beautiful powder shadows. I was just really, really blown away, and the quality is great. I thought for sure after using some of the more sparkly shades up here, this one's sparkly too, that I was gonna have fallout at the end of the day, and I just didn't. Like the quality of these shadows are really beautiful. So I had to mention this palette. I think it is phenomenal. It's really beautiful. The other palette I wanted to mention, and you know, when I saw pictures of this, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be one of my favorite palettes of Pat McGrath. So she came out with a quad called Voyeuristic Vixen, and these have 4 pressed shadows in there. Again, a variety of finishes. This is so beautiful. It's so Pat McGrath, but I love the neutral shades in here. Like there isn't any one shade in here that just really stands out as like a shade that I probably wouldn't use that often, you know? Like Pat McGrath has a lot of fun makeup, and that's what I really appreciate about her brand. But it's really nice to have a quad with every single shade being very, very usable. This is probably the most fun shade. This is called Rose Fire Nectar. This is one of those color shifty, slightly flaky kind of eyeshadows. So when I do use this palette, I definitely focus on these 3. But if I add this on, I don't feel like it's too like crazy. I don't feel like it's like automatically I'm going to the club. It just adds like a little bit of sparkle to the look, and it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. That's the Voyeuristic Vixen from Pat McGrath. And then lastly, I am wearing the Dior Cruise 2022 Quint. I love this Quint. It's just so perfect for every day. Every single color in here has a beautiful satin finish. The tones are different too. So we have some like more neutral tones here, and then we have this warm like light gold. This is very warm too. This is like a terracotta. And then we have this really cool toned like icy kind of white shade up here. And you just end up with gorgeous looks, like just mixing them all up. I have this shade all over my lid and this shade to just sort of, you know, deepen things up a little bit. But you can just use any of these shades as sort of like a one and done. You can definitely build up some dimension with the center shade and this light shade up here. It's beautiful. And so many people have asked me to compare this to Nude Dress. Nude Dress is actually one of the Quints that I decluttered. It's a really pretty Quint, and I like basic Quints, but it's just a little bit too boring for me. I think because if I remember correctly, the center shade is like a peach, and I remember using it and I was like, you can't even really see it on my skin tone. So I think if you have a deeper or lighter skin tone than me, Nude Dress is great. But what I will say is I like this color story a little bit more because I find the different kind of tones in here to just be a little bit more interesting than Nude Dress. If you want something super basic, Nude Dress I think is great. But this one has like a little bit more interest going for it, I think, because of the gold and the terracotta in here. Nude Dress, again, is just very kind of like neutral. It has that peach in the middle. And yeah, I mean, that is also a great everyday, but I like a little something to my basic palettes, like a little something. And this gives it to me. So this is the Dior Cruise 2022 eyeshadow quad. And I thought it was only going to be on their site for like 72 hours. Maybe that's just exclusively, but I still only see this Quint on their site It's still there the last time I looked. I haven't seen it elsewhere, so I don't know if we're going to see this pop up at other retailers, but I will link to this on the Dior site down below if you're interested. It's just gorgeous. And speaking of Dior, I am wearing the Dior Show Iconic Overcurl Waterproof Mascara. So they sent this to me, and I've been a big fan of the Iconic Overcurl, just the regular one. I just think it does a really nice job kind of like slowly building up the mascara. I don't necessarily like a very heavy mascara look, so I feel like when I put 1 or 2 coats of the mascara, it's great. But when I've gone in, just experimenting, when I've gone in with more layers, you really can like build up. It really becomes a lot more voluminous. So I like that you can kind of like tailor the mascara, where I feel like a lot of other mascaras where I feel like I'm building it up, but all I'm doing is making it kind of like clumpy and just messy. And anyway, I really like the texture of this mascara. So when they sent me the waterproof, I was really excited to try it. And like I said, it's what I have on my lashes today. So because it's waterproof, it really doesn't smudge, flake, nothing. But I don't find it extremely difficult to remove at night. You definitely have to use like an oil-based eye makeup remover, which is basically what I use anyway, just to kind of get rid of any eyeliner as well. And even regular mascara, I feel like it just comes off more easily with like a more oil-based, you know, those like biphasal kind of removers. And I don't find this like any more difficult to remove than like a lot of mascaras. So I really enjoy that about this. I feel like my one issue with waterproof mascaras is that they're hard to remove, and I don't want to sit there and like scrub my eye area, and I don't have that issue with this. And I really like how it makes my lashes look. So this is 2 coats, and like I was saying, it like leaves my lashes looking fairly wispy, a little bit long, and you know, definitely more defined than without mascara, but I don't feel like it looks very clumpy at all. So I've really been enjoying this and using this quite a bit lately. And then finally, let's move into lip products. So, well, let's just start with what I have on my lips, which I've been talking about a lot, a lot this past month. And this is the Gucci Satin Lipstick in Agatha Orange. And the satin lipsticks are the ones that come in the gold case. And this color, you know, I just love. I don't want to sound like a broken record because again, I've been talking about this lipstick a lot, but this has been like my go-to bright lip color this past month. I love the texture, the pigmentation obviously it's there. It's very, very bold. This is just like a one swipe on my lip situation, and it's stunning. And then next, I wanted to mention this lip gloss that I was, you know, just kind of like digging through my drawer. I have so many lip glosses, and it was exactly what I was looking for, and I've been hooked ever since. This was like a couple weeks ago. This is the Persona lip gloss in the shade Twilight, I believe. Yes, Twilight. And, you know, I was looking for something that was kind of peachy, not too corally, kind of bronzy, but not just too brown, and something with like a little bit of shimmer. I love shimmer in my lip glosses. And this one just really fit the bill. Like as I was digging through my drawer, it really caught my eye. I was like, oh my God, that's perfect. Which one is that? And I was like, oh my God, Persona. The formula is great. It's not an overly sticky lip gloss. It's just a very kind of basic lip gloss, you know, like nothing too oily, nothing too sticky. It just feels really nice on the lips, and it has a beautiful sheen. So I wanted to mention this because this was kind of like a rediscovery. And then lastly, for lips, this was new to me, and I just really, really enjoy these. So these are the Glossier Ultra Lips, and they're just these really soft, moisturizing tinted lip balms. They just look beautiful on the lips. They have a beautiful shade range. I have 3 of them, Lucite, Villa, and Trench, from lightest to darkest. Lucite is just a gorgeous kind of baby pink color that just, you know, adds like a little something to your lips, like a little milkiness, but not too much. And then Villa is just a little bit deeper than that and a little bit less cool toned. It's a little bit more neutral. And then Trench is a little bit deeper still and a little bit warmer. So I love the shades that I picked. The formula is really great. And someone actually asked me, I can't remember, in my comments maybe, when I first talked about these, if these after a while made my lips feel a little bit dry. And I haven't had that feeling. I do reapply quite a bit, so I don't know if that's what's kept my lips from feeling dry, but I definitely don't have that effect, if you were wondering out there. But I've been loving these, and that's it. Those are my favorites from this past month. Let me know what your favorites have been down below in the comment section. I would love to hear from you, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.